Hi there and welcome to my channel. Thanks so much for tuning in. Today I'm going to share a recipe for some delicious gluten-free carrot cupcakes. This is a nice and easy recipe to do. I mean, like everything I share, things are nice and easy because I like them to be nice and easy anyway. There are a few ingredients in there, but if you get everything weighed up beforehand, it does make life easier because this is a more or less all-in-one method. So if you've got all your ingredients at hand, it does make it super easy. So as usual, I'm just going to drop the camera down and then I'm going to share with you how I pop them together. Okay, so to the mixing bowl, I'm just going to add gluten-free self-raising flour. I'm using the Asda self-raising flour today. As you probably know when you've watched any of my videos before, that's the one I'm currently raving about and I really like. And then to the flour then, I'm going to add a teaspoon of bicarbonate of soda. With the bicarbonate of soda, just need to double check that it's got no gluten containing ingredients or may contain in there. It should be fine, but just double check to make sure. So that's one I'm using the Dr. Oetker, but things can change, so you do always need to check. And then to that, I'm going to add a teaspoon of cinnamon. Again, that's another thing that needs checking as well. If you've only got a small teaspoon, that's a fairly small one just to get in there. I'm going to do a heaped teaspoon of that. So the full recipe is over on my blog and I'll put a link below for that for you. Then I'm going to add grated nutmeg, and if you've got grated nutmeg, that's brilliant. If you're using just the ground nutmeg, then if you add half a teaspoon, that's fine. I'm just sort of going to roughly gauge how much it would be, sort of half a teaspoon here, but a good grating of nutmeg going in there. Okay, so I think that's about, it's just a good scattering of nutmeg going in there. Okay, and then we're just going to grate in the zest of an orange. So it's a large orange that I'm going to use, and just use one of these planes, or if you've got a grater itself, then just use the fine grater on there. I gave the orange a good wash before I started and dried it, so it's all ready to go. With the orange, so you're just taking off the surface layer rather than going deep down, because otherwise that'll be a bit bitter if you do that. Okay, so, and then to the bowl then, I'm going to add grated carrots. You can go fine or some more coarsely grated like that, whichever you prefer. It's not, you know, not a problem providing it's grated. Okay. So to that then, I'm going to add some oil, and I'm using just vegetable oil, so you can use vegetable or sunflower oil, it's absolutely fine. You'll probably spot with a lot of vegetable oils, when you actually look what oil it is, it's rapeseed. So that's actually vegetable oil labelled up, but it is actually rapeseed oil. So just going to add that in there. And then I'm just going to add some muscovado sugar, and it's light muscovado sugar I'm using, which I really do like this for baking. I did try it the other week with half light and half dark for a batch of these cupcakes, and it turned out really, really well. But today I'm sticking with the original recipe I've got on the blog, which is just all light muscovado sugar. Okay, and then finally for now, I'm just going to add in here 3 eggs. So I've cracked them before, and then I got the messy part out of the way. I'm just going to get a quick spoon, just scrape that in. So that's the ingredients so far in the bowl. So that's more or less everything that's going to go in there. The only thing we're going to reserve for now is going to be the raisins. And I prefer using raisins rather than sultanas because they tend to plump up more. So again, with the raisins, you need to check about and may contain. They should be fine, but just double check on the pack. But we're going to add those in a minute. Okay, so I'm just going to give this a whisk. doesn't take a long time. You sometimes might find that your sugar might have a few sort of hard lumps and then it may take a little bit longer. And to be honest, this is actually something that if you don't have an electric whisk, you can do the mixture by hand as well, which will be absolutely fine. Okay, so I'm just going to now just stir in the raisins. The flours, say I mentioned before, is the self-raising flour, the gluten-free self-raising flour. The one I'm using does have xanthan gum in already. If the flour that you're using doesn't have xanthan gum, then what you just need to do is just add 1/4 teaspoon of xanthan gum, and that will just hold the sponge together well then. Okay, so I've just prepared a muffin tray. So I've got 12 whole muffin tray, and I've just filled it with the large muffin cases. You do want the large ones rather than the little fairy cake ones, because these muffins do rise quite a lot, and it just gives you a really nice substantial size. So I'll just pull that back, and I'm just gonna now fill these. Now it is quite a runny mixture, so I find it better sort of to like pour it in and then stop it with a spoon. And then you just basically just want to distribute this evenly between the cases. You can always come back with a bit more to top it up or take a bit out. But as long as it's even, they're just gonna cook all at the same time then in the oven. Okay, so that's it, split between, and I'm just going to pop those in the oven and I'll just show you them when they're baked. Okay, so I've just taken the muffins from the oven now, and when you press the top they'll feel firm but springy, and then all I need to do now is leave them to cool completely, and then I'm going to decorate them up with some cream cheese frosting. Okay, so I've left the cupcakes to cool completely now, and now they're ready just to pipe on some of the cream cheese frosting. So I'm just going to make that first and then just show you how I pop that together. So just slide these out of the way. Okay, so to make the cream cheese frosting, I just add some butter to a bowl, and the butter I've got there is unsalted, but you can use salted if you prefer, but I like to use unsalted for this because I'm going to add cream cheese and that's got a bit of salt in there as well. So just grab another spoon to get that bit off. Okay, and the butter I've cubed, when I weighed it out before, I cubed it and I've just left it out for a few hours just so it's nice and soft. So I use Philadelphia cream cheese. And I've adjusted the recipe slightly because I was recommending more of the cream cheese frosting, but I've reduced it down, and now it actually works really well because you just use a whole tub of this cream cheese, so nothing goes to waste and you don't have to sort of go into another tub either. So, okay, so if the butter is really soft like that, it's fine to add the cream cheese and the butter together. But if the butter is still quite, if it's still a little bit firm, then what I would say is whisk it first, just to break it down before you add the cream cheese. So it will work either way, but if the butter's still hard, it will take a lot of whisking, so say break it down first. Okay. Once you find that sort of blended together a bit, then what you can do is add in a teaspoon of vanilla extract. Okay, and now I'm just going to add in the icing sugar. With the icing sugar, it's best to, I'll go on the other side there. Yeah, with the icing sugar, it's best to add it gradually, and after each addition, stir it in. And just sort of do it until the whole lot's mixed in before popping the whisk back on, because I just find that if you don't do it that way, the icing sugar just billows all over the kitchen. Just mix in each addition. So don't put that back in there. Okay, and say if you sieve it in, I mean, you would, for the amount of time you mix it, you would actually get rid of the lumps, but you will get a better texture if you spend the time sieving it in. I only discovered cream cheese frosting when I started making these carrot cakes, and I just absolutely love it. It's such a nice topping, and I think because it has got the cream cheese in it, it doesn't seem as rich as buttercream does, which is just, yeah, it's just really nice. So just mix it in. It's surprising how it does actually all go in nicely, but that's because the butter's been out quite a bit today, and it's just breaking down really nicely. And when you whip it up afterwards using the mixer, it just goes lovely and silky. The texture's lovely, and it's really nice for piping with as well. That's what I'm going to do. I'll just add this last bit in now, and then I'll get the whisk on it. Okay. So once all the icing sugar's been added and stirred in, then I can just get the whisk on it. Okay. So if you just whisk it, then you'll notice it'll change in texture. So rather than it being sort of quite runny as it was before, it firms up and it just goes light and creamy and nice and silky. And once it gets to that stage, then that's it all done then, and it's ready just to go on top of the cakes. Now I like to pipe it on, but if you don't have a piping bag, then you can just spread it on then, or just spoon it on, that's absolutely fine. But I like to pipe it on, and I think it looks really nice like that. Okay, so I use the disposable piping bags. I get these from Amazon. I'll add an affiliate link below to these ones that I actually get. And all I do is just put a nozzle into the bag itself, and I'll just cut off the end. Okay, and it's just enough then just to have that part peeping through. Actually, I'm just going to trim a little bit more than that. Okay, so just so the nozzle comes through like that. And I find it easier to fill the piping bag just by putting it in a jug, especially if it's got quite a lot that I want to put in there. So I just pop it in the jug first, and then another spoon's coming out, and I'll just fill the piping bag then. So you see how nice and smooth and creamy that is. It's lovely, and it tastes delicious. The addition of the vanilla is just so nice in it. It just sort of complements everything. Try and get the whole lot in, because it saves getting like an air bubble part way through. So that's the icing already, the frosting should I say, all ready to go on top. And to top the cupcakes, I'm using these little carrots. They look so cute when you put them on top of the cream cheese frosting. I was struggling to get hold of these today, and I actually had my neighbour picking some up when they went shopping this morning, because I've been out this morning trying to get some and couldn't get hold of them. They are in most large supermarkets in the UK. These are gluten-free with no may contain warning, but just double check if you see them, just in case you get a different brand or anything changes. But they just look so good, but you'll see in a moment with those. Okay, so now to decorate them up, and this is the nicest part. I love this bit because it just completely transforms these little cupcakes. Okay, just a little swirl of buttercream, sort of you'll get to know how much that you need as you're going round. I sometimes get a bit more generous as I get near the end because I sort of know how much I'm going to have left. I always bother a bit that I might not have enough, but this amount that I do recommend now is actually plenty when you're doing these. Okay, so just round, I just go round and then finish. And I say this, I'm not showing you very well here, but the nozzle I've got is like quite a few jagged ends, and I just think it gives the nicest effect, but you can choose whichever one you want to use. Okay, and we're just going to pop a little carrot on top of each one. So the recipe for this is so good, and even my friends that don't need to be gluten-free request that I make these. They absolutely love them. Even my friend's boyfriend, he's started requesting them as well now, and they do just turn out great, and the mixture goes in so unassuming, and then it just transforms into these soft little cupcakes, and they have just got a really nice texture to them as well as flavour. And I just think they look, I mean, I'm not very good with cake decorating, but I can titivate these ones up and they just turn out so well. So let's just turn them round so you get the full effect. Seeing the carrot, and that's them all done. And it really is as simple as that. As I say, I showed you about the butter before. Sometimes I do whip the butter up first and then add the cream cheese. But I say, just see how you go with that. If you feel that it's a little bit hard, then whisk that up first before you add it. But if not, you can put both together. But that is it. And the full recipe, as I say, will be in the link below, and just click on that and that'll take you for the full quantities that you need. Okay, so that's my gluten-free carrot cake cupcake recipe. I do hope that you liked it. I hope more than anything it's inspired you to want to now go and make some of them. They are absolutely amazing. You'll not regret it at all. If you've liked the video I've shared with you today, then please do give me a thumbs up. And if you're able to subscribe to the channel, that would be wonderful, because it just tells me I'm heading in the right direction and doing things that you like to see. I look forward to being back again with you really soon to share another video. But in the meantime, take care and bye for now.